Hi, my name is Adrian Lauf, Assistant Professor of Computer Engineering and Computer Science. I'm sorry that I could not be with you tonight for this pop-up session, but I did want to give you a few introductory remarks about what cryptocurrency is, how the system works, and how it maintains itself. There are a few basic introductory ideas to help you navigate the landscape of cryptocurrency, crypto assets, and the mechanisms that are behind them. So I hope you enjoy this presentation. If you have any further questions after the presentation, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions via email. My chairman, Dr. El Maghrabi, who is on the panel tonight, I'm sure would be able to get you my contact information if you'd like, and I'll also include it at the end of this video. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start this 7-minute cryptocurrency primer. We're just going to go over some basic ideas and concepts so that you have a better understanding from the 50,000-foot level or view of what a crypto asset is and how the system behind it works. All right, so what are crypto assets? I'm talking about Bitcoin, Ether, Ripple. They're not really currencies in the sense that they're not really like the fiat currencies that we use, such as the US dollar, the euro, so on and so forth. They're actually the product of something that we call a distributed ledger technology or similar system. Not all of them are actually distributed. They are virtual assets that are created, sent, and received. And there are processes for each of these. They require no single point of trust if they're using the distributed ledger mechanism, and they are cryptographically verified. That means we have some math in the realm of cryptography that is used to make sure that these transactions can't be altered or modified by unauthorized parties. And they're secured in that manner. And lastly, they're stored in the blockchain, and I'll show you in a minute what the blockchain means. So first of all, let's talk about the distributed ledger. It is a register of transactions to and from wallet addresses. So let's assume that you're a user on the blockchain and you are given something called a private and a public key. I don't want to actually get into private-public crypto, but let's just assume for a minute that the public key, which is known to the world, is our wallet address, and that you can't get the private key from the public key. They're cryptographically secure. If you have both, you are able to modify the ledger that is associated with your wallet address. Also, everybody's got a copy of the ledger in the distributed model, so that it doesn't really require a single point of trust. So let's say that Bob wants to send 0.03 Bitcoin to Matt. Assuming that Bob has his private key, which he has to, he will send the 0.03 Bitcoin to Matt's public wallet address. These are the small little numbers that are located below the names. Okay? So the transaction, and then the ledger itself is distributed to everybody on the network. It's a peer-to-peer network with a bunch of machines that are kind of set up to help the network work in a distributed manner. Okay? This removes the need for a central point of trust. If you don't have to trust the person that you're sending and receiving from because everybody's got a copy of the ledger, that kind of makes things a little bit easier. There is a sort of a rigorous verification process that ensures that transactions can't be rigged to anybody's favor. And I'll show you a little bit about how that works. And then there are mechanisms in place that prevent fraudulent ledger copy. So what is the blockchain? The blockchain is essentially a collection of ledger transactions, and the ledgers are attached or added to a block that contains a fixed number of transactions that can be contained. So the blocks contain the last n transactions. Different networks have different block sizes. Nonetheless, these blocks are the stores for the transactions that have happened in a certain period of time. They're verified by what are called mining systems. They're performing difficult mathematical computations. And as a result, one block basically points to its previous block, which points to the previous block, which points to the previous block. This has without getting into too much detail, an effect of sealing in the transactions. As more blocks are added, the previous blocks are much, much harder to change. So how does this transaction verification take place? Well, in this case, we're actually going to talk about mining. This is an example of a mining rig. It's using graphical processing units to perform very complicated, well, actually they're not complicated, but they're mathematical operations that are very difficult to reverse. And I don't want to get into too much detail about how they work, but suffice it to say that these machines are making it difficult for any one person to modify the globally distributed ledger without having access to that private key. This mining rig is using 6 GPUs to perform its mining task. So what is mining? Mining is the computationally complex process of verifying transactions in each block. They are computational puzzles that are missing purposefully a piece, so that the mining machines have to expend time, effort, and energy to find those solutions. That missing piece, once found, is part of the verification process of the distributed ledgers. These miners are doing millions, billions, or even trillions of calculations per second to try to find these missing pieces. Once they are found and enough miners have contributed to solving the block is relatively safe at this point, and it undergoes further confirmations by mining machines. You'd need to own 51% of all the mining equipment for that particular network in order to maliciously control the ledger in your favor. When the right solutions are found, the block transactions are considered verified. How are coins made? Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a coin. It's just really a number that is shifted, and you have the power to change the number with your private key. Many cryptocurrencies have sort of an initialized starting quantity. Furthermore, mining actually, you have to reward the miners for them to expend, the electrical cost and the cost of procuring their equipment. So a block reward of a certain amount of the crypto asset is generated when a block is verified. This actually generates new tokens, and it's an anti-deflationary measure. People can also include mining fees, by the way, to expedite their particular transactions so that miners are more willing to take them up. There is an upper limit on the number of tokens that can exist, and this is an anti-inflationary measure. So, in summary, I know that I promised this to be a quick overview. The blockchain itself and blockchain systems provide a decentralized transaction system. Okay, the transactions are stored for all of history, so they're open for everybody to see. The security is guaranteed by algorithms such as proof of work, proof of stake, or proof of storage. Mining provides the cryptographically sound mechanism to secure those transactions, and the distributed nature in many cases removes the need for a centralized regulatory authority. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you learned just maybe a little bit about how crypto systems work. If you have any further questions, I'm sure the panelists will be more than happy to answer them, but if there's anything in the presentation that you wanted a little more detail about, I'd be also happy to answer those for you. Please use the following email address and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much.